I wonder what show we're looking at today, so don't forget to press play.
Go.
Go.
That's how this one is starting. Hello and welcome to this episode of Press Play, the podcast. I'm me, Haley, and I'm here with Maddie and David. Say hello.
Hello.
Hi.
She said say hello.
Yeah.
Hello.
Thank you very much. Today, we are doing the play. Drum roll. Don't do that. It's going to be so anointed. The play is A Doll's House.
Yay.
Woo. No, I'm actually really excited for this episode.
Yeah.
That was
I know.
really insincere.
Honestly, same.
Because I don't know why you're excited. I don't know why I was trying to explain why you're excited. But I'm excited because I had never read or even heard of this play before this episode, before like researching for this episode. And that's my background. What's your background?
I'd only ever heard of it. Yeah, but never read it.
Yeah, so I studied A Doll's House.
Big did it?
Yeah, in high school, and I don't know, yeah.
Wow.
So I studied A Doll's House.
I'm so glad for you. Did you
Congratulations.
just when you say you studied, did you just like read it? Did you talk
what was
about
the
it?
No,
assessment?
Yeah.
so it was an analysis of the play, and then also I performed a scene from the play with Dr. Rank and Nora.
Were you Dr. Rank?
I was Dr. Rank.
Oh my
Nice.
god, that name. I just can't get over it. Dr.
Yeah,
Rank.
I know.
Anyway, sorry.
Kind of fit in.
Mm.
Oh, were you good?
Was I good? I would like to think so.
Were you a good actor?
Were you? I believe so. You're a good actor. No, I take it back. He's gotten cocky.
Excuse
He did
me.
the Demi
Ouch.
Ryan.
Okay.
But yeah, I performed in that. That was really fun. And that's basically my whole knowledge of the play. But I feel like, yeah,
Wow. So interesting. Could you?
Okay, lighten up a bit.
No, it was interesting. Thank you for your
Thank you
life.
kindly for your insightful insight.
So, so A Doll's House, if you never heard of it before, same, but it is a classic. It's one of the oldies.
yeah. Such a well-known play as well.
Yeah, it is very well known, apparently.
Not to 2/3 of us.
So David, who wrote the play?
Okay, so the play was written by Henrik Ibsen, who a lot of people have probably heard of, but he was a Norwegian playwright, given the name the father of realism. He basically, kind of established realism as it is through plays like A Doll's House and some of his other plays. He was born in 1828 and was the eldest of 5 siblings.
Big brother.
Yeah.
Big Brother.
He's a
I
big
like that
brother.
show.
Is that? Oh, it is a show.
Yeah.
The reality TV show.
Yeah.
I've never watched it.
No way.
No.
Watch it.
No.
It used to be really good. It's kind of gotten
I'll stick to The Block. I've got to watch the finale of The Block. Anyway, keep going.
Okay, cool. But anyway, fun fact, he, at the age of 15, had to leave school and started an apprenticeship to become a pharmacist.
Wow.
Pharmacist.
At 15.
Yeah,
At
that's
15,
very young.
yeah, he had to leave school. And
Oh.
yeah.
Like to support his 5 siblings?
I am not quite sure, but I just know.
You laughed at that, but that was a legitimate question.
Yeah.
I don't know why it was funny.
Like, haha.
5 siblings.
Wow.
Yeah, so he was a pharmacist for 6 years, and then he went. He tried to get into the University of Christiania, I think it's called, which is the name of the It's what Oslo, the capital of Norway, was originally called. Before it got changed to Oslo. Although he didn't pass the entrance exam, so he didn't get into uni, and he decided to just focus more on writing. And after a year, he got a job at the National Theatre Company, and then later he got married and had a kid before running into some financial issues and moving to Italy.
Ooh.
And he was in Italy when he wrote, living in Italy when he wrote Doll's House.
Wow.
So yeah.
Did he write Doll's House in English? Or was it originally in English?
Or Norwegian.
Don't believe it
Or
was
Italian?
Italian, yeah.
Like,
I don't believe it was English.
Do they speak predominantly English in Norway?
I
Or is-
think it's
Like,
Norwegian.
is that
no,
true?
it's Norwegian.
Well,
But
I don't like. You
but-
know how like
I think they, I think they can.
they're pretty fluent in
I think
English.
they're smarter
It's
than
not-
us. Like they learn both languages.
No, yeah, that
No,
is
but
a
you know what I
thing.
mean?
Although
Like,
I
you know
don't
how-
think that's necessarily that.
No.
That probably wasn't a thing in the 18th in the
No.
19th century.
Oh, probably not.
No.
So I was wrong. Danish.
Danish.
He's Danish?
No,
He wrote in
he
Danish.
wrote it in Danish.
Yeah.
But even the people who did learn languages in school, can they speak that language now? Exactly. This is what I'm saying.
I mean, maybe some.
I just feel like, I feel like they need to set up a better system on language learning. I feel like it's just not working. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I did Italian in primary school, and I still know some. Like, I couldn't have a fluent
I know how to-
conversation, but like I could say like, "Hey, how are you?"
That's all I did. I did Italian in primary school, and I can
Ciao,
say
come stai?
Ciao, Bella, if I'm feeling nice.
cozy. But but like that's
Like I can have that much of a
That's
Arrivederci.
it. But, like when are you gonna be in Italy and you're like you could only ask
Ciao,
how
come
you're
She's very polite.
you can only ask how they're going and you're like and
And they
that's
tell
the end
you,
of my
and you're like, I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like they just say a word, and you're like,
you hope it's one of the three that you learnt in the three responses that you learnt in school.
I enjoyed Italian.
I don't think I'll ever learn another language, but I wish I had the dedication to.
Yeah.
So that's what was his name again?
Whose name?
Henrik,
Oh,
the playwright.
Henrik
playwright.
Ibsen. That's the playwright.
That's Henrik. That's Henny Boy.
Yeah, I went to his park in Italy.
Oh, how was it?
Yeah, it was nice. It was a really nice park. I have a photo of me there.
didn't know
It's
that-
on my Instagram.
Now I aspire to have a park.
Yeah, there's like a little stage there.
Wow, that's kind of.
And there was a lot of writing, and it was in Italian, so I could only half understand it.
See, we don't know Italian.
I've learned Italian, but I'm not fluent. And so I was reading it, and I was like, word. What's that word? What's that word? Word. I know that. But yeah, I think that he performed there. I think that was
What if
a
we
thing.
get a park? Inscape Park. The park of Inscape. And it's just like our logo made into a statue with a stage.
And then actual birds fly around it.
But there's a bird nest. No, not nest. A bird
Oh.
bath
Wait,
at
wait.
top of the thing.
Oh, okay.
That would be beautiful.
That's really cute.
We'll
well,
do it.
that's next thing
Mm.
on the agenda. Inscape plan is to buy a park. Or just to do something good enough so that we get a park
Named after us.
named
yeah.
after us. And then they build the statue. Anyway.
We'll
thanks.
just build a statue in a random park.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. It's not the Inscape Park.
We'll be like, they'll be like, we don't want this. We'll be like, oh, that's okay. It's all you're welcome.
You're so welcome.
You're so welcome that we just made this a tourist attraction for no one that knows us. All right, so that's Henny Boy. Can we, Maddie,
Hello.
where what was happening during the time of A Doll's House? Like, what is the history?
History. I feel
What
like
is
the history
history?
is such an important part of this play. Like 100%.
Oh, for sure.
Like, oof. So it was written in 1879, and an oldie. I actually had that word written down to say, and you used it earlier, and I'm very offended.
An
You
oldie.
called it an oldie, and I was like, I was going to call it an oldie.
We can both call it an oldie.
It's an oldie.
Your
a
plans have
goodie.
been foiled.
Uh,
Oldie but a goodie?
Have you never heard that?
Oldie but a Goldie.
No, it's Goodie.
Goodie. oldie but a goodie.
Do you think it's Goodie, right?
It's
yeah.
goodie.
Oldie but a Goodie.
Why? That doesn't make sense
Yes,
though.
it
Oldie,
does.
it's an
Yes.
oldie but a Goldie.
I mean, that also makes sense, but Oldie but a Goodie.
But it
They
rhymes.
Both,
It
they both
sounds.
make sense.
It
Oldie
sounds
but a
right.
Goodie.
An oldie but a goodie doesn't flow.
Yes, it
Yes, it's
does.
Oldie but a Goodie. It's such
Oldie
a
but a
cute.
goodie.
An oldie but a Goldie.
Look, you guys in the listeners.
We'll do a poll.
You do. Yeah, we'll do a poll on
Okay.
Instagram.
Okay, so it's an oldie but a goodie Goldie. So this was written in the 19th century when women zero rights, absolutely none. The Victorian era was era.
I think.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Their husbands were everything. They literally as brutal as I'm making it sound, they were powerless. They were dependent on their husbands socially, psychology.
Psychology.
They were their therapists.
No, they were not.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Economically, socially, financially, big thing. Like the
Hmm.
financial control that you had being a husband was ridiculous.
Just almost the complete control.
It
like
was.
over.
No, it's just
It was
yeah.
complete, every aspect
Yeah,
of their lives.
Yeah.
They were just yeah.
So good old Ibsen knew this. Like he was aware of it as a man. There's actually a quote from him when he was talking about how he was coming up with A Doll's House. And he says, "A woman cannot be herself in contemporary society. It is exclusively a male society with laws drafted by men, with counsel and judges who judge feminine conduct from the male point of view."
This man's on top of it.
He
I'm
was.
so impressed.
He
Yeah.
100% was. And for back then, that was like shocking.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Um,
like your
He was.
He
Mm,
he was very woke.
he was like.
he
very
was
woke.
he was
Like he
woke,
was very aware as a man, which was like the really
which is like what we need more of.
yeah, and like I
Um,
feel like people were more
we
willing
need
to
more of.
listen to a man's opinion. And I mean, they didn't agree with his opinion, but like if a woman was to say that exact sentence, she would be scolded for that.
Or just ignored, like not
Yeah.
even worth like
No,
your time.
no way. So women, stayed home. They were very much the housewife. Nothing wrong with being a housewife, but like they were made to be housewives. That was their only option in life. And a lot of governments throughout Europe at the time were using the Napoleonic Code. So that basically prevented women. How do you say it?
No, I was like you're like Napoleon, and I was like,
No,
oh,
no,
what's
no,
this?
no.
And you're like,
Yeah.
no.
Napoleonic Code.
Napoleonic.
Napoleonic.
So I actually didn't know this was a thing until I was doing research for this. Yes. So governments throughout Europe were using the Napoleonic Code, which I actually didn't know about until I was doing research for this. But it literally prevented women from making financial transactions. Like it wasn't legal. Like I thought there was just like the husbands had control, but like legally were not allowed to make financial transactions on their own.
Yeah.
So if they like had their own business, but it meant nothing. You could be the most powerful woman. If you were married, doesn't mean a thing. And then obviously we all know about they didn't have the right to vote. Like that was everyone's aware of that.
Was New Zealand was the first country to give the women right to vote, weren't they?
I'm not too sure.
No, I think they were. They were the suffrage, and I think
That's
Australia
lovely.
was not far behind.
Wow.
Like the suffragette movement was a big thing in New Zealand and Australia and England. But
The more you know.
yeah,
The more you know.
very cool stuff. I'll fact check that so that if it's not right, I'll cut it out.
Yeah.
And literally the social norms, like as far as even the word, like the phrase "a doll's house." There's another quote. So Nora says in the play, "Our home has been nothing but a playroom. I have been your doll wife, just as at home I was Papa's doll child, and here the children have been my dolls." And that's rough. Like if you really think about that line.
That was something that I like actually. I
Mm.
remember like speaking about that line a whole
That
bunch
line,
in
oof.
high
Especially
school
when
in
you
my
consider the build up, which
analysis.
we'll get to.
Oh yeah, 100%. So I actually was looking into like if there was any particular events, because obviously everything about the time linked to what made Henry write this play. Henrik.
I was like, wait, Henry,
You just call him Henny
just Henry.
or Henrik.
Henrik is not that hard.
Okay.
Henny. Henrik. Henrik Ibsen. You can pick whatever one you want from that. I'm just going to talk again. Henrik had a muse. So I was doing some research. So 8 years before A Doll House was written, Ibsen actually met a Norwegian girl, you know, when he was in Norway. So Ibsen took a fancy to her and called her his Skylark. Which, if you read it...
Oh.
Skylark gets used again, by the way, guys.
There's more.
Yeah, there is more. But then in 1872, she married a schoolmaster. He contracted tuberculosis. The schoolmaster. Yep, not good. So essentially, the woman, Laura, the Skylark, she arranged a loan without her husband's knowledge. And back then, no.
Not okay.
No. But yeah, they had to repay the loan, like, afterwards, and she didn't have the money, demanded her husband...
Sorry, so you're saying basically that Doll's House is based off a true story?
Based on, yeah.
Yeah.
Which is crazy.
Which is his life.
Well, not his
No,
life.
not his
but-
life.
Yeah. But it actually, like, if you remember the quote that I said earlier, when he was talking about, like, a woman could not be herself, that was him, like, reflecting on that situation of her, and then he wrote it based upon that.
Yeah, no, that's so interesting. I wonder if his muse told him that she didn't like being called, was it Skylark, because that's kind of an...
It's used as a not nice thing in the play.
Yeah, well, so as a play, in the play, Trevor, the husband, calls her all these bird names, and it's, like, obviously demeaning. Like, it's obviously gross.
Yes. Disgusting.
Yeah, have you got anything else for us?
Well.
Oh, there's more.
Do I ever?
Oh, do you ever?
So, obviously, kind of what we've learned from this was Henrik was a feminist. He never claimed to be a feminist, but as David has spoken to me about, he aligned with the women's movement.
Yeah.
Woo.
So you just said he was a feminist without
He
saying
didn't say it, and I feel like back then, I don't know if feminist
I don't
was
know
a
whether
word
it
back
was a
then.
big, like, a thing
Was it a
Yeah.
word?
in the
I don't know if it was a
19th
word.
century.
And I feel like even if it was a word, you wouldn't walk around as a male being like, I am feminist. Like, I feel like you just wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
I feel like you wouldn't walk around as anyone saying, I am feminist.
Yeah.
Like, you just, but a lot of the things
Women.
he did, you would think, no, women especially not.
No.
If a woman said they were a feminist back then, I don't know, I don't want to know what would have. No.
That's,
But now, we love feminists. I'm a feminist. We love them.
I'm really glad.
Are you a feminist?
Yes. No, I was saying...
I'm glad, I'm glad
no,
you're a feminist.
no, sorry. I mean, I'm glad that you love feminism.
She's
not
like,
that
no, I'm not saying that I am. I'm saying I'm
No,
glad
I
that you are.
I'm glad you're a feminist.
No, I'm
glad one of us is a feminist.
I'm glad that you
I'm
like
glad
it. No,
two of us are.
Thank you.
Look,
all three of
Haley's
us
just
are
the odd one out.
feminists.
I'm
No,
joking.
I
I'm
am a
joking.
feminist. How could you?
Okay, so when A Doll's House was first performed, it was actually banned in Britain. Britain was like, this does not align with us. Too much controversy. They were like, absolutely not. So unless you change the ending, because basically in the ending of A Doll's House, which, Haley?
Spoiler
explain?
alert. In the end, she leaves her husband and family behind. Like, she leaves, she's like, this life ain't for me. Yeah, it's a bit more than that, but she... No, she leaves, and
Yeah.
that's to be her own woman, kind of.
Yeah, and in the 19th
like,
century,
yeah,
unheard of.
we'll get to why, but...
So Britain was like, this doesn't align. It's going to tell women the wrong idea. How disgusting.
It's
for
going
one.
to tell women that they can leave their
They
abusive
have the
relationships.
power. It's disgusting. So yeah, Britain said, absolutely not. The audiences that they did show it to thought that it was like really immoral, which is really ironic because I think the actual immoral thing is that they wouldn't let her leave.
Well,
but
I think the reason they thought it was immoral is because she left her children behind.
yeah,
And I feel like
Yeah.
that's...
you were a mother first. That was your first.
Yeah, I
a
think
wife
that
or
was
mother.
like the big... I mean, like...
That was, yeah.
I mean, it
definitely a
wasn't
big
good to
part
leave
of
your husband back then. Like it wasn't like... It was scandalous to leave your husband, but to leave your children as well is like...
Yeah, that was like unspeakable.
Yeah.
But then, so not only was it banned in Britain, it was banned in Britain. They were like, absolutely not. Other countries that happened, not Britain. He had an actress, Hedwig. David.
David's our pronunciator. Like,
This is just a consistent trend.
look, he did his diploma.
I'm sorry, I don't know how to say that name, and I don't want to say it wrong.
I don't want to say it wrong either.
Okay, you said her first name was
Yeah,
Hedwig.
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 I know that from Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Sorry. So I know the name.
David looks so disappointed in you.
I was about to say same, honestly. Like,
Yeah,
That's not even a bad
It's-
thing, but I'm
yeah,
like, I know the word
it's
Hedwig
just funny.
from Harry Potter.
Yeah, I agree.
Maybe. J.K. Rowling.
No.
I don't think so.
Got it based upon
Actually, no, I think there was a story
German
about how she
actress.
got that name.
Hedwig. Really?
There's stories about how she got all the names. A lot of it's based in Latin, though. Like, a lot of her, like,
Yeah.
spells and all that.
Yeah.
Spells are a whole different playing field.
I know. Look,
Yeah. Don't
Okay.
you make your spells in Latin?
Only Norwegian.
minor action. Yeah.
I write mine in Danish.
Say
I write
not
mine
same.
in Elvish.
Elvish?
Elvish?
Yeah.
Like Elvis?
No.
Like elves?
Like elves.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
No.
It's the only.
Instead of Avada Kedavra, it's thank you very much. And you just instantly dead.
God, you Leviosa.
Do a little.
No, it's we
do
God,
a little.
Leviosa.
No, but you gotta do a hip switch. Like, instead of like swish and flick, it's like swish your hips.
I was gonna say you have to moonwalk, and then I was like, that's
That's Michael Jackson. Anyway, so we're in Germany. We're in Germany. Hedwig, the owl. I mean, the actress is
Hedwig the
the owl.
I mean, I don't really like her, so
Yeah, we like the owl.
we do. We love the owl. So yeah, she was the main actress. She was playing Nora for German audiences, and she said, "I will absolutely not play Nora unless we have an alternate ending." Imagine saying to a playwright and a director, "I'm actually not going to do your show unless you change it, and then I'll do it." And so, good on Hedwig was like, "All right, bet." Okay, I guess I'll change it. I'm sure there was a lot more to it.
Yeah,
but
I
he
feel
did
like-
change
Yeah.
I don't think he would have just
No.
been like,
it. No,
All
there
right.
obviously was more to it, but he did change it.
I'll change it. That's so she stays in the abusive relationship.
Yeah. It's
So then the alternate ending, she basically sees her children at the end after her argument, which once again Haley will get into the plot when she gets to it. And yeah, she collapses, the curtains fall, and it just implies that she stays at the house. It doesn't really, like, there's no words of like, I am staying, but it's definitely implied
Like,
compared to the
it's-
original ending.
Like, she
That
looks
she
looking
never
at her
leaves.
children.
yeah, she goes to leave and then she like sees her children and her husband's there like, "Yo." And then she collapses
Yeah, and then it's kind of like that's
in
the
the
end.
corner basically.
And curtains, down they go.
Mm.
And so that's the only way that the German actress Hedwig would do it.
Couldn't they've got another German actress? Probably.
That's what I'm intrigued about. I'm like, was
Yeah,
she
I'm
that
in-
good?
I'm wondering if it's like an almost like.
I'm sure there was more to it.
I'm sure,
like,
yeah.
Yeah.
So long ago that we don't have
I'm
enough
wondering if it's
information.
almost like a. Oh, who's a big actress? Like, I'm trying to think of. I don't know, like Anne Hathaway. Like, let's just use her. Like if like she was like.
Shakespeare's Anne Hathaway or
No. All right, I'm changing celebrities. Let's just say it was like Meryl Streep, and like Meryl, like you can't say no to Meryl, right?
Goodness me, no.
Exactly.
I would change a show for
I don't
Meryl
know
That's
though.
the-
I don't know if Meryl came up. I don't think
You're
Meryl would.
saying this for the public? We're going to post this
Okay,
online.
no, but okay. Yes,
I'm
I
not-
am saying it to the public. I don't think Meryl would do that.
No,
And no. That's not the issue. But if she did, she
wouldn't wanna
wouldn't
work
be
with
the
her.
person that I thought that she
No.
was, and I wouldn't want to have
I
her
do
on my show.
understand.
I know. I'm not saying Meryl herself. I'm not putting Meryl's character on this. I'm just trying to put a
But
celebrity
I don't
status.
think I would. I don't think that
Okay,
I
let's use
would
Tom
want to
Cruise.
work with
No,
someone
but the
who
Tom
had
Cruise thing
those.
still applies. Like, I do get what
Yeah,
Jake's
I don't think
saying.
I would want to work with someone who has those values.
But then I'm also
No.
thinking, were her values... Obviously, her values were bad, but she was also a woman in that time. Was she just kind of
True.
brainwashed to be like, I'm going to get really put at the stake for this if I act in
True.
this?
I would like to try. Okay, I wasn't going to say that Meryl changed the ending of Dollhouse. I was going to say Meryl changed the ending of something that at this time and age is controversial. So, like, if she didn't agree with the ending of something, like, I'm not saying like it was the Dollhouse. I'm saying if she didn't agree with the ending of something, it was like, I'm not doing it unless you change it. and everyone was supporting her because everyone would have been supporting this actress.
Yeah, they would have.
They would have been like, well, yeah, this
It would have
is
been out of fear for her.
ending, like, because like
But also, this is something that Henrik was really passionate about. He was talking about human rights and being like, I strongly believe that these are the rights that women should have. I don't think that just because, like, I mean, it's very evident that just because society was like, we disagree, he didn't back down.
that's true. What did
But, like, he did for that, but
was
I
he
feel
the one
like
who changed the
there's a
ending?
specific
He had to
reason.
change it, yeah.
He changed it. Damn.
But like not on his own accord, obviously.
No,
but,
it would have
like
been
they
more
didn't
than
just.
that.
You can't do it. You can't just change someone's like. But yeah, Britain completely banned it unless it was changed, and so I guess he would have had that happen, and then he had this actress, and he was like, well, but now we read it with the original ending, like it can be performed with the original ending now, obviously, but
Yeah.
which I'm glad about. Like, imagine if it just never got changed, we probably wouldn't be talking about it in the same light as we are, if it had
Not
the
at all.
alternate ending.
No.
Like, no way. It wouldn't have done the same things for feminist theatre. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but like first ever feminist play ever that wasn't like said to be a feminist play, but like
Yeah, the first one that is like deemed as
Yeah.
a feminist.
Is
strong
that just
female
in
protagonist.
Western culture? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm sure that
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
But like the one, yeah, well known and like
Yeah. What are the first? Like, yeah. Cool. Wow. That's some cool stuff.
very interesting.
That's very interesting. All right. Now let us actually tell you guys what's going on in
happened?
this play. Like what's actually happening. So we have 5 kind of, well, the main character is Nora, which is the
Hedwig's character.
yeah, the female lead that we've been referring to a lot. But there's 5 kind of important characters, and those characters are Nora, the housewife, Trevold, which is Nora's husband,
Torvald.
Lol.
I thought you were saying like Travolta for a
True.
second.
Yeah, I was like Travolta.
My I was
No, that's
looking.
Greece.
I was
much later down.
I was looking at the word, and the R and the O were switched in my head.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that's
Um,
all good. But
No,
yeah,
no, I know. That's what. Anyway,
maybe say it again.
Oh, yeah. So those 5 main adults being Nora, who is, the main character, the housewife, Torvald, her husband, Christine, her old friend, Krogstad, a lawyer, and Dr. Rank, my favourite name out of them all.
I like Nora.
You like Nora? I'm
I
glad.
actually really like the name Nora.
Yeah. All right. So we start on Christmas Eve. Yeah, I know.
Spicy.
So it's a Christmas.
Oh,
And
it's not a Christmas story.
It's a
Stop
isn't.
it.
it's not, but I like Christmas. So yeah, she comes home after Christmas shopping and she's like, I've bought all these things. And her husband comes in and was like, why are you spending all our money on silly things like this? And she's like, it's presents for the children and stuff. And you have a new job. Well, you don't have a new job. You have a new promotion at the bank. So we will be able to afford all this. Yeah, and he's like, right. I guess so. Yeah, so then the maid comes in. Oh, there's a maid, by the way. Oh, I forgot to say the
She
extra.
is one of the characters. No, I'm kidding.
She's not one of the main characters, but
No.
like the extra characters are like the 3 children and the maid. They're not main characters, but they're there for plot's sake. Yeah, so the maid comes in and she's like, 2 people have arrived. Dr. Rank, who they know, because Dr. Rank is a family friend of the husband and wife, and a random woman. Who could it be? And Dr. Rank comes in and like goes to the office with Torvald, and then the woman comes in, and it's Christine. And Nora doesn't recognize Christine at first, and Christine's like, do you remember me? I'm from school. She's like, oh my god, it's been like 10 years. I didn't even realize that it was you. You look so different. She literally says something about her age.
Oh my goodness, after 10 years.
But she's like, oh, no, like, you're beautiful. So, yeah. Yeah, so they then like have a little chat, start catching up, and Nora talks about how she actually saved Trevold, her husband's wife, in the first. Oh, I keep saying Torvald's life. I'm just gonna say her husband saved her husband's life in their first year of marriage by taking him to Italy. I'm
Interesting,
going to-
considering where Henrik was.
I'm gonna tell my
And also, that's coming in with Laura's story.
Yeah.
yeah.
Laura had to, they had to go to Italy.
Oh, didn't even realize that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna tell
That
my
makes sense with the
future
news.
partner that I'm sick. I need to go to Italy. You need to take me to Italy. I just feel like I would like that. Or we can just do that for fun.
Yeah,
Yeah,
can we just go without you
Surely
lying
you
to
don't have
someone?
to pretend to be sick
That's
for
true.
that.
I also don't think it'd be a valid thing because I don't know. I'm guessing it's just because of the time, but the doctor actually suggested a trip to like make him feel better.
Yeah,
And
which is what happened with Laura. Like it was like a
yeah. Anyway, so Christine, so Christine and her are catching up. She tells her about how she saved his hubby's life, and Christine tells her about how she's widowed now, and she had a sick mum and 2 brothers, but the 2 brothers are all good now, and the mum is dead, so she has nothing left in her life to do. Like she's lost her husband. He didn't leave her anything. He didn't leave her any money or anything like that. So she's come to Christine being like, can you get me a job? Your I heard that your husband got a new like management position at the bank. Can I get a job? And Christine is like, yeah, I'll try that. Also something important. So interesting that we were talking about earlier that you're not allowed to do stuff as you're not allowed to move money as a woman. So to get the money to take her husband to Italy, she forged her father's signature to get the loan to go to Italy when her father was on his deathbed. So she did that. That's just a little bit of information that's very important for this entire play. So she tells Christine, yep, I'll help you. Christine goes, and then Krogstad comes. Krogstad comes to the house to go and see Nora's husband. Nora's like ill. No, she's just very unsettled by the fact he's there because he is in fact the person who loaned her the money.
He is the loan shark.
He's the loan shark that loaned her, and he knows that she forged a signature.
I just thought about the TikTok sound that's like, she knows. She knows. I know she knows.
I know she knows.
He knows.
So then she says a little hello to her kids. It's very cute. She's like, hi. And then Krogstad comes back out of the study after talking to her husband. She's like, go away, kids. And Krogstad is a bit distressed. Is a bit distressed because her husband is going to fire him. And he knows it because of crimes that he's committed in the past, which I think is similar. They're like, he forged something or he did something similar to what she did.
Money.
Yeah, something to do with money.
I think it was to do with the whole loan shark thing.
Yeah, loan shark thing. But as I said before, he's the one who lent her the money and knows that she forged the signature. So he's like, yo, you got to convince your husband to let me keep my job. Otherwise, I will tell him that you forged a signature, which would ruin him because how could his wife handle something for him? That's just awful.
Yeah.
He'd be ashamed.
It was very much like I'll tell people and then the world will know that he can't control his wife.
His wife, yeah.
Which, yeah.
Yeah. So, and she's like, oh, she's terrified by this. She was like, no, it will ruin everything. It will ruin everything. And so then he leaves. Her husband comes out just to talk to her, and she starts, trying to like convince him, like, oh, you should let him keep his job. And husband's like, no, I don't like him. He's a dishonest man. I'm going to fire him, and actually convinces him because she's so pestery about it to fire him sooner. Yeah. Then he was going to. And that's the end of Act 1.
That's the end of the play. That's where we
no,
finish.
that's like the middle climax. They're like, oh,
we love that.
my God, what's going to happen?
And then Act 2.
It's not actually that exciting. Act 2, Christmas Day. Nora is very stressed. She's pacing around her house. She has a little moment of panic, and then Christine comes over to help her sew a costume for a ball that's happening in the next couple of days. And they start talking again. Now, she didn't tell Christine who she got the money loan from. And so Christine's like, is it Rank? Is it Dr. Rank? Did you get the money from Dr. Rank? And also, I think Dr. Rank likes you. She's like, no, I didn't get it from him. No way does he like me. That's silly. That's preposterous. And then her husband enters with the letter to fire Krogstad. And is like, are you falling asleep?
No.
You look very tired.
I'm just tired.
Yeah,
but I'm
that's fair.
listening.
And Nora's like, please, no, don't give it to him. And he sends the letter anyway. It's like too late. So now her solution to what she's going to do, she's going to try and pay off the loan. Like, the only solution she can kind of do here is she's going to pay off the loan before he gets fired, before Krogstad tells her husband the truth, because if she pays off the loan, then she gets the letters or document that prove that she forged the signature. So she thinks about asking Dr. Rank. At this point, everyone else has left, and Dr. Rank comes over basically to tell Nora that he's dying. I didn't mention earlier, but Dr. Rank has a terminal illness. I don't know exactly what it is. I can't quite remember, but he has a terminal illness, and he's come over to tell Nora that he's dying soon. And to try and cheer him up, she shows him a stocking and tries to flirt with him.
Look.
It's very funny.
Sensual woman.
I was reading and it was like she shows her the foot. She shows him the foot of the stocking, and he's like, oh, and and then she's like, you can't see anymore. Oh, okay. And then shows him like the leg. Like, it's
I'm
not
a married woman.
It's not on her, by the way. It's just
I know, that's
really
so
nice
strange.
stocking.
It is very odd.
I mean, maybe it's not odd for the time because
Maybe that was really
scandal.
scandalous.
Like, yeah, but it's just a bit funny in the context
of
of
undergarments. Like, it's
yeah,
not scandalous.
like your sexy underwear. I can see that.
Yeah.
Like,
Like,
yeah.
that'd be like now showing someone like a really like nice piece of lingerie. I don't know. Like,
Yeah, I
that
feel
is
like it's
kind of like, ooh.
yeah, I feel like it's equivalent to that.
But it is weird when you think about a stock, like the foot of a stocking.
It's very funny.
Ooh.
I was reading it, I was like, this is
That
hilarious.
is odd.
It's not meant to be hilarious, but I just in the context of today, I was like,
It was like, that's awkward.
that's a bit funny. Yeah. But then this leads him to be like, I am in love with you. He confesses.
Just wave around a stocking and men fall at your feet. Imagine that in modern day.
Well, yeah. I mean, to be fair, that scene, it's a lot of build up of him.
Yeah, I'm
him
sorry.
being like,
tension building.
him being like, yo, I kind of. It's not like a show the stocking.
No.
And like, oh, I love
I'm
you.
in love.
It's like him expressing his feelings.
Yeah, and I guess because she seemed to show interest then as well.
Yeah.
And because he's on the brink of death, he's like, what do I got to lose? I'll
yeah.
tell you that it's
So for
this is the scene that David performed.
yeah, yeah.
Ooh, that's Dr. Rank.
David was
As
aroused
Dr.
by a
Rank.
stocking.
Wait, you actually did this scene?
Yeah, I did it with this one good friend of mine in school who we did this scene together. We did the scene from Away between
Michael and
Meg.
Meg, yes.
With like the
My friend Michael played Michael.
mutual
kinda
masturbation. And we did another one from another play.
Doing this from close as heck.
Yeah,
What kind of stocking did you use for the?
She just showed me her actual leg.
That's even more scandalous,
Yeah.
She had
David.
a stocking on.
No.
Oh!
Yes, no, she did have a stocking on. She did.
Just like pantyhose, just like a normal.
It was just like stockings.
Wow.
That's even more scandalous.
I
David.
know.
Yeah.
A leg in the
Holy.
stocking.
But anyway,
How progressive.
for a bit of context, Rank at this point was a virgin who was dying from an inherited form of syphilis, or like it's sort of generally agreed that it was syphilis because it doesn't specify. But yeah, and part of his thing is like I'm dying from a disease that you get that people get from sex and from contact with people, even though I've never had it. And
That's not very fair.
and he talks about how like he is basically feeling ripped off.
Yeah.
No,
fair.
With
fair.
life.
That is, yeah.
Very fair.
He was ripped off.
And he's not super like when he confesses his love. It's not like a
Yeah,
he doesn't
it's like-
expect anything from
yeah.
her. I don't
No.
think.
it's I think there's a tiny bit of expectation, but not necessarily expectation, but there's a little bit of
Hope,
like but come on,
yeah.
but not as not in like
pushy,
a
pushy though.
yeah, not
like,
super pushy about it,
No.
which is yeah.
He's not an awful
for the
person.
time it was respectful.
Yeah, very
For
much
the
so.
time.
Yeah.
Like
Very
now
respectful.
it's not, but back
But
then
back
Yeah,
then
no.
it was
being respectful.
it was very respectful.
Yeah,
for the
and
and
that's how
time.
you have to look at it, is in the
Yeah.
context. He
Yeah.
wasn't being too bad.
No, he's a nice character. I do like him. He's of course slightly problematic in the grand scheme of things, but you know, he's not awful. So yeah, so he's like, I love you, and she's like, I can't. I'm sorry. I couldn't betray my husband. Like it's, she doesn't. She is quite devoted to her husband in a lot of this play. Yeah. So, Rank, he leaves after confessing his love after Nora says no, and was like, what the heck?
What the heck?
He's like, why did I get fired? I told you to do this thing. She's like, sorry. Like, my husband was like, what did he, what did he expect her to do? Like, she could only try so much, but her husband was adamant like that, and he got fired. And he's like, well, now I'm going to send a letter. And she's like, no, please don't. And he's like, I'm going to do it because you didn't,
obey.
Yeah, you didn't obey me.
Yeah.
You didn't do what I wanted you to. So then the next night we go into the next night. This is the night before this ball that I mentioned earlier. Nora meets up with Christine and tells her everything. So like she is she's very distressed about everything because her husband hasn't got the letter yet. She knows she's going to get the letter soon. So she's very scared. She doesn't know what she's going to do. So she tells Christine everything. And Christine is like, "Oh, I actually know Krogstad, and we used to be in love. Like we almost were a thing, but I chose to marry I chose to marry the rich husband that I had because my mother was dying."
Yes.
Did you even?
Yes.
Yeah, no.
No, we listened to that whole thing.
It was like,
How we
it was a bit
listened.
of a scandal.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah. So she chose the other husband because her mother was dying and he had money. She's like, let me talk to him. I think I can convince him not to get the letter. And Nora's like, oh, thank you so much. So then she leaves, and then her husband comes in and is like, I'm going to go check the mail. And she's like, no, let's dance. To distract him from seeing the mail, she's like, can you give me a critique on my dancing that I'm going to do for the ball? I don't remember. I can't remember the dance. It's a specific dance.
Tango.
No, it's not the tango.
I was just thinking about your show.
Oh, okay. But basically she starts to dance and like to distract him, and he gets super like, what's the word? Like,
I don't know what you're trying to say.
like he critiques her a lot. He's like, no, you're
Judgmental.
literally doing everything wrong. Like, let me show you. Like yeah, like
Critical.
so yeah, very critical and very like almost abusive. It's like,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
kind of like very. It's a scene where it's like, oh my god, yeah.
What scares me is that back then this show would have been like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's how you talk to a woman. What?
That's something I wanted to bring up is the way he addresses her is like a child, and it's so uncomfortable. He literally calls her my child, my
Pet.
my pet,
Ugh, it's
my
disgusting.
songbird. He uses so many bird analogies.
Skylark.
Yeah.
Told you it would come
And
back.
it's-
Skylark,
it's
dove.
Honestly
all sorts.
disgusting the amount of times he refers to her as almost his daughter. Like it's disgusting. So then we cut to the next day, which is they've had the ball. She's coming back from the ball, and he's like, wow, like I couldn't get you away from the ball because she was oh wait, no, sorry, I've skipped something. So it's the ball, and while they're at the ball, Christine and Krogstad meet, and Christine's like, they're like, oh, I love you. Like they're like, let's like be in love together, because she's like, I don't have anything left. I don't have my husband. I don't have children. I don't have anything. Let me be a mother to your children. Let me have a purpose, which is
Yeah.
but she's happy, so I guess that's what matters. Yeah, and he's like, oh, okay, and I won't give the letter. And she actually goes, actually, no, let Nora's husband find the letter, because she believes that Nora is in a unsafe and a horrible situation, which is true.
She is 100%.
And she's like, let her have the letter, which is scandalous because she told Nora that she would take care of the letter thing.
Well, she took care of it.
Yeah. So then,
Just not in the way Nora
Yeah,
wanted.
she
yeah.
did take care of it. It's not in the right. Yeah.
So then Nora comes home with her husband. He's like, I couldn't get you away from the dance. Like, you just wanted to dance and stay there. Like, what? You're like, and then he like starts like make advances on her. He's very drunk. He's like, well, let's go to bed, but not sleep.
Let me look at your stocking.
Yeah. and yeah, and she's very much like, no, I don't want to. But he's very much like, come on, and she's like, no, I don't want to, and no, that doesn't stop him. The only thing that stops him is actually Dr. Rake interrupting their little conversation, and he comes over to kind of say goodbye. Yeah, and he interrupts them. Her husband is annoyed, but Rank leaves, and then her husband's like, okay, I'm going to check the mail. And he finds 2 letters, one from Rank that he left on his way out, which basically is confirming that he's going to die in the next couple of days, which makes them both really sad. And he's like, okay, we won't have sex because we're sad. That's the thing that stops him from...
That's awful.
Yeah, that's the thing. He's like, I guess we can't because we're both sad about death. And he's more like, I see you're sad. Anyway, and the second letter is the one revealing that the letter. And he goes off. He gets so mad. Like it's like a whole moment where he's you've ruined our, like, it's embarrassing. You've like, it's awful. He gets really, really mad at her. I don't remember if it's the next day or I can't remember, but a second letter comes. And the second letter is from Krogstad and says that her loan has been paid off because she was paying off her loan but hadn't finished. And then he sent a letter being like, your loan's been paid off. And her husband like switches instantly. Like he's mad. He's aggressive. He's saying all these horrible things to her. Reads the letter that it's been paid off. Therefore, it's dealt with. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. I was never mad at you. I wasn't actually going to like do anything to you or anything like that. Like, it's fine. And in that moment, she realizes that this is not okay, and this is not where she wants to be, and that she hasn't been happy, and that she hasn't been living in an affair home. And she basically is like, we need to have a conversation. And they sit down and he's like, why? And she's like, do you realize this is the only serious conversation we've ever had in our marriage? And he's like, why do we need serious conversations with you? Like, and she basically leaves. She leaves and she packs all her stuff. It goes on for quite a while, actually. He's just kind of like, no, I don't like why? Like, why are you mad about these things? I don't understand. You don't understand these things. And she's like, exactly the problem. You don't think of me more than like a dumb, like, you're a doll. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the play ends with her slamming the door and him with his head in his hands. And that's...
You were going to say hands in the door for a second. I was like,
I was going to say hands in his head, and I was like, that's not right.
No,
yeah. And that is the play. That's the story. Woo.
Definitely an interesting one.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's... men are gross. Those men are gross.
Yeah, back then, men were terrible.
Yeah. And it's just... It's like... It's basically her realizing over this Christmas period, like her coming to... Because she starts off and seems very happy at the beginning. Like, she's bought Christmas presents and everything. She's eating sweets. She's doing all this stuff. And she's very committed to her husband throughout a lot of the play. It's like, I can't betray him.
Yeah, it's only really towards the end that she's like, actually, no.
Very interesting. Anyway, let's answer some analysis questions. Like, what style is the play in?
Ooh.
It's realism.
I think that
modernism, like realism.
It's yeah.
Yeah.
I think that it's actually it's magical realism.
You think it's
for sure?
You think it's magical realism?
No,
I would say Death of a
Magical
Salesman is closer to magical realism.
Yeah, no, definitely realism from the father of realism himself. He did do like surreal plays and stuff like that, but
This was not one.
this was not.
This is just not one of them. Yeah. One of the main themes. Well, money is a big theme in this one.
Yeah.
Because I guess I didn't mention, but everyone kind of, even Christine, even her friend kind of talks down to her about making decisions like that. They're like, oh, you're too young, you're too innocent, you're too to understand such matters. So yeah, and at the beginning, when she's spending all her, like, actually her husband thinks that she's really wasteful with her money because he thinks she spends all her money, but actually she spends half of her money on presents and gifts or whatever in life and spends the other half on paying off her loan, which he doesn't know about, obviously.
Well, I think there's like consistent themes of power.
Oh,
Like,
absolutely.
and abuse and abuse of power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's really, yeah. And also the bird analogy is a big
Big symbol,
Big
a big
symbol.
motif
Symbolism.
in the throughout the whole thing.
yeah. Because
Absolutely.
he calls her a bird, and it's like she's trapped
Countless times.
in a
is trapped.
cage. That is her
Yeah.
life.
Yeah, basically her house is, I mean, first off, it's a doll's house and it's likened to a doll's house and she is the doll in the house. But it's also a cage. Like, she is called a bird so many times, and the house and her life, like, the house is her cage.
Maybe I should have been called a bird's house.
But no, I do
No,
understand
I
doll's
think
house
a
because
doll's
it's
house
like
is so
him
perfect.
manipulating
It
them.
was
So
a-
perfect.
It was a joke. You guys took it way too seriously.
I think he just really hit like the nail on the head with like relating it to the time. Like, I feel like he did it so, especially because like, and I know how it was, well, I don't know, but like I've looked into how it was looked at back then, but also us looking back at it, it kind of gives us a perspective of like, whoa.
Yeah. And the
like-
sad thing is, it's not sad, but like the interesting thing is that it's still problematic in some ways.
Absolutely.
Like, it was progressive, but yet only so much so. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, there's some elements of the play that you're still like,
But I think it was almost meant
Yeah.
to be. Like, it was meant to be almost
And
controversial.
yeah, and it was written in the 19th century.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
not
yeah.
Perfect.
I know. I just think it's interesting. Like, I just think it's interesting how far we've come.
I'm
and
very
how
grateful
far,
how far we've come.
and we still got a long way to go, but
Long way.
a long
Yeah.
way.
Long way. As a woman
A
in society, there is a long
Yeah.
way. But like we are treated with injustice and we feel like we are. But I feel like a woman from the 19th century would think that we are so lucky. And we
Yeah.
are. But like we
we
still don't feel like we're treated
we
fairly.
are extremely
Mm.
lucky to be living the time we are in, but yet there are still things that
so
like
many inequalities and
that's-
like yeah.
yeah,
As women, it sucks.
it's a bit of a
But I can't imagine
Struggle.
being back in that.
oh, I
Oh, it's
could
awful.
not.
Mm.
It's awful. Absolutely awful. Yeah, but as for what are your guys like? Like, how do you feel about the play, just in general?
I like the play. I think when I studied it in school, I wasn't a massive fan. It just, I think, we also read it, and reading any plays like that can be very hard. So it's not one of my favorite plays, but I didn't dislike it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, I know I've been talking about very highly of it, and I think it's like a really cool and progressive
Yeah, definitely.
play for the time, but it's kind of boring. It is kind of still like, it's a very traditional play. It's very like reading it was fine. I wasn't super
Yeah.
intrigued by it. I wasn't
Yeah.
super unengaged, but
I
and
think.
yeah. Oh no, as I was gonna say, I like what it did for the time. And I was saying to David, I would love to see a revamped version of it.
I
Like,
would love to.
I would love to see like a reimagined version of it, because I think it's got some really great concepts and you could totally do something really cool with it. I'd love to see something like that.
Yeah, I think I'm similar. I think the actual like text itself in the play is like, well, I think I just have a lot of respect for the playwright. And
Definitely.
like I really another one of his plays, Hedda Gabler, I really, really love. And I love the way he speaks for women. And I think it's kind of like, while it's not my favorite play, and like it's not my play, I think just the themes that he touches on and him as a playwright,
Yeah, definitely.
I view very highly.
Yeah, I think I guess the main thing is relating to the style, with it being like that I found an issue with, at least when I was studying it, was being one of the first realism plays and really forging that. It was very much focused on, it felt as if it was focused on the mundane, which was a new thing back then, but also having seen a lot of that nowadays. And like having seen like all sorts of different things, it's not like that form is anything new. And it felt like a lot of the moments in the play, there wasn't too many special things happening.
Yeah, and I did a very quick summary of the play, but those scenes drag on
A lot longer.
for ages. Like the ending scene especially goes on and on for quite a while, and it's a lot of just back and forth between characters. So that, you know, that can be a bit of a drag to read or watch, like when there's nothing else there than the mundane. Yeah. Well, that was a really fun chat.
It actually really was. I really
very
enjoyed
much
it.
Yeah.
enjoyed that. Did you guys have like any final thoughts, favorite parts of the play or anything like that?
Her leaving.
Yes.
Yeah.
The fact that there was an alternate ending makes me so sad.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
my favourite part of the play was her leaving. My least favourite part was her not leaving.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
I agree.
No,
no,
absolutely.
I think in the like actual version of her play, my least favourite part would have to be just Torvald's monologue that he has, and he talks about, like, it's very much him talking about Nora as a bird and as a pet and as like all of that stuff, and it's just hard, I find, to, yeah, it's disgusting
Yeah.
to read. And yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know, but favourite moment is when she leaves.
I think it's interesting because I think things like that are like, they're so uncomfortable to read that it's almost like he did a good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It
it's,
was meant
it's
to make you
it's
so uncomfortable.
not least favorite
Yeah,
in a
like makes
in
you
a
uncomfortable.
yeah,
Yeah.
not least favorite in a way of like, oh, it's a bad thing about the play. I think it was a very effective moment.
Just least favorite.
Yeah, you don't
Experience.
love. to
Yeah, I
experience
just
it.
wasn't. Yeah,
That's
Yeah.
so valid.
Yeah, I actually, my least favorite part about the play is actually not Christine the character, but I mean it's not outlandish because of the time, but like the fact that she's like, I have no life because I don't have children, or I guess at the time that's kind of how it was. Like, you didn't have a life as a woman unless you did. But I don't know, it made me really sad because I really liked her character, that at the end that she was like, oh, I now have purpose because I have a husband and children. I guess that just makes me kind of like, oh, which
you
is
feel sorry
sad,
for her.
especially contrasted to Nora, who leaves.
yeah, and there is definitely, like, it's a big part of the play, and part of, I guess, the message in the play is that contrast between those two.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll stop rambling. We'll wrap it up. Thank you guys so much for joining us. This has been Hayley.
Maddie.
And David.
This has been our take on A Doll's House, and don't forget to press play.
Bye.